Hey, we're Flick and Joe, and this is our dog Walter. In 2022, we made the crazy decision to quit our full-time jobs, pack up our lives, and move aboard our blue water sailing boat. We spent many months refitting her and getting her ready for our plans until one day we actually did it. We cast off the lines, we pointed her south, and off we went. We've now sailed over 1,000 nautical miles, dodging orcas, yes, actually, and most of the rocks along the way. Join us for the beautiful, quite stressful but endlessly eventful life that is full-time living aboard.
In this week's episode, we sail from Azohia to Ibiza and encounter some pretty sizable Mediterranean swell. We get a visit from customs, and we face down a 45-knot storm at anchor.
42, 44 knots when it going? Well, no, when it first flipped around we had 40 odd knots.
Our anchor is down there and facing the wrong way. We're basically just anchored by the weight of the chain, which goes all the way up there in a big loop and comes back down to the anchor. Anchor, bridle off. It's so sandy. Wow. It's like some sort of volcanic explosion. It's like a cloud of sand. So our friends sailing Saffron. And today we're sailing 24 hours over to Ibiza. Why is it going to do that? Sometimes the swivel gets stuck. That's it, we're free. Now we're slowly drifting to land. You hold that? Mm-hmm. And we're off. Woo. Yeah, baby, to the Balearics. Paul? Good boy. Love them. The next few minutes were kind of scary. A large Spanish customs boat came towards us, did a quick 180 turn, and then started following us. They did multiple flybys, and you could see them staring us down with their binoculars. They never tried to contact us by radio or any other method of communication, so I'm not really sure why they were so interested in us, but eventually we went our separate ways. As they were motoring alongside us, it sort of makes you think you've done something wrong, even though we hadn't. We hadn't broken any rules, but it totally makes you doubt yourself, especially as you could literally, you could see them staring at you through their binoculars. I don't know if maybe they were just really interested in Walter. after the customer's boat left, we concentrated on getting the pole out for the head sail. We start off by hoisting the pole to a horizontal position with a halyard. Then we set up a forward and aft line. So now the pole is triangulated, and even without the head sail, the pole will remain exactly in that position. Setting it up this way is great because it means you can reef or pull out the head sail whenever you want, and the pole will remain in position. If you didn't set up the fore and aft lines, the pole would want to swing back and forth as you furled or unfurled the sail. We settled into the passage, we sat up on deck, listened to podcasts together, slowly cruising our way towards Ibiza. The wind slowly picked up through the afternoon and evening, just as forecasted. You two are like sleeping with your heads next to each other. You're cute.
Authorities are now on the hunt for 3 unknown kidnappers. Fred turns to Rick.
The wind picked up. So, yes, the wind's picked up a fair bit. So we stuck a reef. Well, we put 2 reefs in the main. And we reefed the head sail down a bit. And yeah, we're just cruising downwind with the poles out, pole on pole with. Tell you what the wind is. Got about 17, 18 knots of wind. We're doing about 6 knots of boat speed. It's pretty good. It's pretty good boat speed. The wind's going to pick up to like 20-ish knots into the evening, and then it starts to die down again. So we've just reefed now, and we've reefed quite heavy on the main so that it makes our lives easier in the future. Prepare now for your future. It's a bit swelly, but it's nothing like what we had in the Atlantic, so it's pretty chilled. They're just sort of short, sharp 1 meter waves, I guess. Flick and Walter are down below getting some rest. In the meantime, here's some beautiful footage of us sailing. Settling into the evening shift, so it's only 6 o'clock, half 6. I'm going to stay on watch until like midnight, 1 o'clock-ish, and then Flick's going to swap over and do a big chunk of the night shift. And by the time I wake up, it'll be sunrise, and we might be able to see Ibiza. Because at the moment, behind me, I don't know, you can see on the camera, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but that is the last bit of mainland Spain, and we're not going to see land now, I think, until we see Ibiza, which is quite cool. We're going to be able to like land ho! So yeah, really cool. The wind is steady, 20 knots, 19 knots. We're cruising along at about 6.5, 7 knots, and it's lovely as jumping. We've got the sail, we've sailed really nicely balanced. The boat is just cruising downwind, pole on pole, with barely any autopilot input, and yeah, just really happy. Yummy. Nice hot pasta, like ravioli stuff. The sun is setting now just behind the last bit of land. And into the night we go. Wish me luck.
He said that was fine, following the wind angle, so the wind is shifted slightly, he was like it's fine. But yeah, at the moment, pretty tired. Engines on. Woo! I think about 5.5 knots, and there's about 4.5 knots of wind. Pretty good night passage, I think. It feels different to the last passage we did. Feels a bit weightier, which is fine. I just was a bit overwhelmed, I guess, at the beginning of the journey. I think because I went straight from a work call and Joe had already lifted the anchor, and then we were off, and I didn't really have the time to sort of like prep my head, even though I'd done it all morning. I felt quite overwhelmed, and then I did this tapping method thing, which worked really well. And calmed me down, and I felt a bit sick after that. I think I tried to lie down to go to sleep. When I sat back up, I felt sick. That's okay, these things happen. And yeah, snooze, watch TV in the afternoon until Joe and I swapped out. The sunrise looks really cool though. Really cool.
Good morning. It is 20 past 11 in the morning and we are about 40 miles away from our destination now, and we can finally see land. Woo! We can see Ibiza now, which is cool. We had to start motoring at like 6 o'clock this morning because the wind died an absolute death, but that was forecasted, so that's good. It's supposed to start filling in again soon, but from a different direction. And it'd be nice to get some more sailing done, but I only want to, well, we want to get to the anchorage before it's like late or dark. We're due to get to our anchorage at the moment around 6, maybe 7 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, sunset's around 8 o'clock in the evening here. So spent a lot of last night being pretty cold and it was really dewy, so you just ended up getting dew like forming on you, so you ended up really wet and damp. And now the sun is out and everything has started to dry off, and now I want the shade again. The sun is so strong. I'm just sort of hiding under the bimini under here, just trying to hide from the sun. Sheltered soon.
Yeah,
Very rolly, hasn't it?
it's very rolly. Not been very comfy passage.
Not this morning.
Yeah, I would say like the whole passage really hasn't been that comfy.
Oh. I think it's alright. Yeah, until this morning.
Yeah, the night wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah, it's fine. It's dragging on this last bit though.
Yeah, it really is. Another 3 bloody hours.
Well, once we're through the cut through, all the swell should disappear.
Yeah.
I might have a shower whilst we're underway if it flattens out, and then make use of all the hot water
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and refill it.
You ready? Whoa!
We'd spent a few nights in Ibiza by now, not filming much, just enjoying the anchorages, and now here we were, sat on the sofa, nervously clock watching. But why? Well, predict wind at a strange forecast for midnight on the dot. It was going to switch from a 5-knot onshore breeze to a 40-knot offshore northerly within the hour. And sure enough, the forecasts were right for once. We almost couldn't believe it. The boats swung round so violently, and now I bring you what little footage we have from that night.
show you how much I'm shaking. It's like 45 knots. The whole body's vibrating. Joe's trying to work out whether we should put out more chain. To do that we have to sort out our bridle, which is just going to be a real hassle. At the moment we've got 5 to 1 out.
Sadly, I could not find any lines. I went to 3 different stores in American Samoa. The Dillon lines, so we had to use mine concentrate. It's a real shame considering this.
Pretty windy.
What's going on?
Huh?
What's going on?
In Samoa, it's called OK. I think OKE. What is how they spell it?
Just wondering if we should try and let more chain out, but
like with, I think with a green banana or a cooked banana or something on the side. So we're just going to be making a simple version with what we have. We're going to use a.
I'm trying to stay calm. We're currently getting how many knots? Like 40.
There's some cruisers in American Samoa from Anders and Nendaz fishermen, and the captain of the boat. She's when I caught the swordfish and it was as tall as her. But they gave me 2 steaks.
45.
And I just thought it last night so that we could go ahead and cut it up.
42, 44 knots a minute ago. Well, no, when it first flipped around we had 40 odd knots.
And we've been frantically looking at the charts up there at Navionic at our anchor pro going, are we dragging? But so far, just keep me holding okay. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're the same, just been looking at everything and trying to work out what to do. We were thinking that we should probably let more chain out, but there's so much stress now on the chain that we don't want to have to, I don't know, pull up some to then take the bridle off to then. Basically, Joe was like, I think we'd have to put the engine on to go forward to then let out more chain. So we're just gonna like see what's happening, I think.
Yeah, we had the same discussion. In order to do it, we need to put the engine on both before we take the bridle up, drop back on it without smashing the Gib'Sea, and then reattach the bridle with the plate. We're holding for now, let's just keep it as it is.
Okay, that's good to know that you guys had the same chat. I messaged Amy and I was like, she's got no signal. This is so stressful. It's very reassuring. Yeah, it's horrible. It's really, really horrible out there.
Have you been up on deck yet? It's like, you land up, but it's almost like you're getting knocked over.
What's going on? This is what we do when we're sitting in an anchorage at 40 knots. Great shade.
this is the end. I want to look gaffer.
Don't say that. I'm shaking so much. This camera just melts.
We both decided it was probably best that Flick just try and catch some sleep, and I stayed up till around 6 AM on anchor watch, waiting for the wind to die. I realised at about 2, 3 in the morning that we'd forgotten to give Walter his dinner. So we have this clip of Walt eating his dinner very late in the night, trying to fight the boat swaying in the gusts. So I thought we'd just sit down and do a very quick debrief of our first storm at anchor, or first very windy experience at anchor.
So we went into it, we checked the weather in advance and we knew that it was going to be windy, but the weather forecast, they all agreed that it would be windy, but they didn't really agree on like how windy it would be.
Well, it seemed so strange though. It was like 5 knots northerly, and then at midnight on the next hour it was going to flip into 40 knots from a totally different direction. It seemed unbelievable. So we sort of took it with a pinch of salt, but we did stay awake.
Walter didn't want to be in the frame anymore.
So we did stay awake on anchor watch just to see what happened at midnight and whether this weather did arrive. And it was almost on the dot. It just arrived.
I was actually trying to sleep, you were on watch, and I was like snoozing, you know, when you're in that really light level of sleep, and suddenly I heard this like vroom, like noise, and the whole boat started shaking, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I like jumped out of bed being like, what is it? And you were like, the weather's
It was literally
arrived.
like someone turning a switch on. Yeah, it went from... The biggest takeaway was, and I'd never really appreciated this before, once you've got that much wind, then decide that you want to let out more chain is very hard. We could do it, but in doing it we might end up shock loading the windlass as we're letting out more chain, and so it might end up creating more problems than it was worth. We weren't dragging, so if we're not dragging, what's the point in messing with it?
I think in future, if we see potential for that kind of forecast, which is what we've done, like when we've had any stronger forecast,
quicker,
we do it beforehand. We'll be like, okay, like we had some forecast stuff in Mallorca and we moved so that we were in a position where we could let more chain out safely in the anchorage. And I think that that's what our biggest lesson from it is, like, if you see it on the forecast, then act preemptively. Like we had 5 to 1 out, I think, didn't we?
It was like 4 and a bit to 1 / 5 to 1.
So we had a lot of chain and stuff out, and we've got an oversized anchor, and
well, yeah, it did give us a lot of confidence with anchoring out.
Huge.
Because we just sat in 45 knots of wind with 4 / 5 to 1 of chain out.
Yeah,
and we didn't drag.
And it showed us the importance of the anchorage as well, that like whenever you know there's forecast to be a big wind, like make sure that you're in an anchorage that's got good holding and that you'll be blowing out to sea if you did drag and all of those things. But yeah, it was quite stressful. Like, I think you can tell from the footage that I was quite nervous.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't think I hit it really well.
Do you think you'd get so stressed in the future now that you know?
I don't think so. I think I'd probably still be quite nervous about it, but I've now banked that experience of like us not dragging. So hopefully that will then be like, oh well, we sat in a very similar environment at 45 knots and we were fine. So these 30 knot ones that we've been seeing, like I haven't felt nervous about really at all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to leave the boat.
No, that's sensible though.
Yeah.
That's it. I think we're just a quick wrap up, a quick conclusion of our stormy night at anchor. And our top tip is definitely to prepare.
Yeah.
In advance, so let all your chain out way before, even if you don't believe that the forecast is going to be true, which is kind of the case for us, but just let your chain out anyway. It doesn't really do any harm to do it.
Yeah, if it's safe to do it. And I think a good one for those of you who are like me and maybe a bit more nervous, if there are any of you who still get nervous who watch these videos, but just remembering that like it's only temporary and it will pass, and you'll then have really nice flat days again where there's no wind, is like a reassuring thought in the moment of being like, take deep breaths, like it'll be fine, it's a bit windy but it'll be okay.
Tune in next week where we will be, all of a sudden we'll jump forward to being in Palma on the island of Mallorca, which is where we're meeting my dad and my brother and my dad's partner, and we watch Elliot, my brother, do a load of racing in the laser dinghy. See you later guys, bye!